Hello, my name is Kim Rivers on behalf of the Samuel Proctor Oral History Project at the University of Florida. Today's May 27th, 2023. We're at the Florida Folk Festival, Stephen Foster Folk Culture Center State Park. We're speaking with Rochelle. Sarah Berger is also here, as well as Deborah Hendrix. Rochelle, could you tell us your full name and where you were born?
Rochelle Morris, Miami Beach, Florida.
And where do you live now?
San Antonio, Florida.
Could you tell us a little bit about how you view the Florida Folk Festival community?
Oh, extended family, beautiful tribe of kindred spirits that are dedicated to song and harmony and inclusiveness for music from all walks of life and through the ages, that Florida's kind of grown and endured, to welcome various cultures. So it's just an amazing thing that's grown through the years from the beginnings, which I think is how many years? 71.
Do you have a favorite stage? And if you do, why?
I do. The marble stage. My son was 2 years old. He's now 54 when I took him to the marble stage. And it wasn't really a stage. It was just a big area of dirt with kind of like bleachers or some sort of seating in a circle. And I have a picture of him with his little curly hair sitting there. And in those days, it was Don Grooms and some of the real original old timers that just stayed with me. The river is right there and the breeze and the trees. So it's magical.
Has your life been changed at all because you come here every year?
Yes, mainly because of the people. There's something about singing these songs that are so deep and meaningful and singing them in harmony. I'm mostly a harmony singer, so I get to just kind of come in with almost anybody and try to, augment what they're doing and feel the words and the stories that they're sharing or that they've written. So I think through the years, this is my extended family. I'm closer to most of the people that I've met through this festival than I am to my own blood family. But hopefully they won't watch this interview.
Well, why are you closer to your folk family?
I find that sharing music and singing together, and have those vibrations coming, that it just goes right to the heart and to the spirit and the soul of who somebody is. So there's all that personality and all the differences in beliefs and things that kind of fade into the background so that it's a real true connection. So the music just does that, heart to heart.
Were you ever incredibly embarrassed on stage?
Oh, I'm so glad you didn't say like anywhere in the festival, that you just said on stage. So I'm going to answer that question. Yes, yeah. I had severe stage fright for most of my early singing years. And so when the New Sand Mountain Wildcats were performing, I had a signal that meant I'm about to have a panic attack. And this means, don't look at me. don't put a microphone in front of me. Just let me, be. Or I'd walk off the stage. And that happened a couple of times. And I was embarrassed back then, but now I think it's just part of who I am. And I've overcome that stage fright, so. But yeah, that was embarrassing. Oh, and getting Cousin Thelma, asking me to put shoes on when I came on the stage barefoot. And she wouldn't have it. She made me go get some shoes.
So look, there's her picture right there.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about Cousin Thelma Bolton?
Oh, we wouldn't be who we are without her and that hand, that strong hand. So I appreciate now what she was creating and the traditions she was trying to think. So I would thank her. Yeah, I thank her for all of it and for letting me be a part.
What do you think is the biggest reason that you make the effort to come back every year?
Okay, so I'm so drawn to these lands. I think they're sacred, and so many of the people that I've loved and still love, including my son Adam Morris, who started volunteering as a very young child, 9 or 10 years old, and he would join the crew in creating the dance stage. And then he'd stay Monday and disassemble the dance stage, And of course, Ann Thomas, my dearest friend, and Frank, and so many others. So they're here. I know they're here. And I come and I visit them. And Adam's memorial bench is on the walkway by the amphitheater, if you have a chance to see that. And of course, the gazebo. So that draws me. This is his resting place. This is where we come and visit him and be with him. Quite a draw, huh?
If you had to create a Florida folk family motto, what do you think it would be like?
Well, I didn't create this, but what comes to mind is sing like nobody's listening and dance like nobody's watching. Something like that. But I don't know who made that one up. So, yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like future performers at the folk festival to know? Advice, wisdom of which you are possessed of much.
To, of course, to write what you know, sing what you feel, and do it in a way that is your truth. And when that happens, to find a way to not compromise your gift because of what others might think or even say, and just put it out there. Because we all need it. We all need to hear what you're saying. If we speak from that place and write and sing from that place, it's going to the people who need it. And the ones that have that, whatever it is, criticism or judgment, they're not your people. They're there for somebody else, not you. So put it out there.
Would you like to tell me about someone who's crossed over from our family to tell us about them?
I don't know that I could add anything that hasn't been said about Ann Thomas. I would hope that those that were fortunate enough to meet her in the flesh when she was here would continue to speak her name and tell her story and sing her songs. Because as long as there's one person to do that, then we are not forgotten. So I would, I encourage that. And to, what was your question? about someone that is what I would want people to know.
Or what you know specifically.
What I know. Wow. She just, once you became her friend, once I became her friend, I felt like there was just this embrace, and she was never going to let go, no matter what I did. And I said and did some stupid things, but she was not letting go. It was like, okay. Once we crossed that line into that area of friendship and deep sharing and knowing each other, not just as passing. It took a while for me to get to know her because of the aura, the reputation, of who, you know what I mean? And I was intimidated. But she was a gentle, and maybe a lot of people wouldn't use that word, gentle, sweet, deep, loving, spiritual person who really wanted the best for those that she loved and knew, and did anything that she could to make sure that happened for them. She was always there for me.
Can you remember any of the funny Anne moments?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to put any of those on record. Funny. I'm trying to think of one that, would be appropriate to share. Because we had a girlfriend relationship, so a lot of it was like very, I'm going to say kind of like risque, maybe, like the stories we tell, and smoking cigarettes when I wasn't supposed to be smoking cigarettes, but funny. No, give me a moment. Let me think about that. Okay?
There's no rush.
Yeah, I'll come back to that. Okay, I got one. So Anne was known for, dressing very plain in her overalls. And I'm kind of like, I consider myself, a fashionista. My mom was a designer, and so I just like to funk it up, and so, one time she was going on a date with Frank, and she's looking through her closet, and I go, oh, no. You come with me. We went to the thrift store, and I bought her a purple, shiny sequins lame, gold, lame, is that the word of it? The stretchy, shiny stuff, sexy dress with like a scarf and a thing, and I put makeup on, did her hair, and she went on a date with Frank. And I don't know what happened on that date. Hopefully he was not a stupid man and he didn't say anything insulting, but whatever happened on that date, she looked beautiful, by the way, to me. And that Christmas I went over there and I saw that purple lame thing around the Christmas tree. She had cut it up and turned it into her tree, what that's called, whatever that's called. Cloth, around. And I went, that looks familiar. And she just went, in her overalls. She knew who she was.
was your first folk festival? Do you remember your first one?
I remember the first one. It was 1965, and I was a senior in high school, dating an older boy. And he took me up to the folk festival, and I don't remember much of it because he also introduced me to cannabis at the time. So I know I went, and I know that I probably had a good time, but it was a few years until I went back, and then I came back, and I consider my very first time was in 71 or 2. It was the year that all the hippies invaded the park, and it was canceled the following year. So just somebody will correct me what year that was. I'm wanting to say it was 72, but and so I was part of the reason that the festival did skip a year. And the reason I think that I was told, that Thelma or the powers that be gave was because if they skipped a year, it wouldn't become like a Woodstock. It would, the hippies, we wouldn't come back if they skipped a year. So that's what happened. It happened.
I just have to laugh out.
That's probably I could say that's my first one, and I've been coming ever since. So my band, the New Sand Mountain Wildcats, we played for the first time. I'm thinking it was 78, but it could have been 80. Yeah.
What instrument do you play?
I play guitar and percussion, but mostly sing.
What do you wish everybody knew about the folk festival, folks that have never been here?
It's hard to impart that. You kind of have to be there, like a good joke, you have to be there. And so I would encourage people to make the trip, and even for a day, and walk the grounds and take in as much as you possibly can, and then decide. Because I do know people that have come once and never come back. And I know people that have come once and have been hooked for life, and that continue to come even at great, cost or expense. And I don't mean financially. I mean, there's a gentleman with oxygen tanks, and one gentleman came with the dialysis machine hooked up. I mean, to be here and to, make that sacrifice, is the right word. So I would say just make the trip, show up, and you'll know.
What question you wish I asked you that I didn't ask you?
How can I contribute or serve the festival better with what I have left, in terms of life and gifts? So you gonna ask me that question?
Yes.
What can I do in the future too?
Yeah, so as we're moving forward to the inevitable.
Yeah, and not just me, like what can we all, I'm talking about like some of the elders here.
So
that
as
have been,
elders,
yeah.
what do we owe the future? What should we be doing?
Well, this is what I'm so glad you asked me that question. I think that this might be controversial, but I think that we need to make room on the stages and get off the stage, or mentor and bring up. I remember Frank Thomas always did that. He had his time, and was always on the amphitheater. I mean, that's the mother lode, right? Everyone wants to be on the amphitheater. So make sure that we give part of our set and our moments, our minutes, to younger people, because pretty soon, if we don't, nobody will be here. There'll be empty stages. So that's really so important to me, and I'm doing my part to encourage that. And, we are with the Will McLean Foundation, with other festivals. So I think that, not to say, we see the same people so many times, and we're all getting older, and the people on the stage, it would be nice to have more than white hair up on the stage, and some youth and vitality. And I think that is something that would draw more people. And then we can go for another 72 years if we do that. That's my 2 cents.
Checking the time. So maybe there is no typical day for you, but sort of, is there a pattern or ritual or things you kind of always do when you're here?
Yeah, I go, and the first thing I do is I go to Adam's bench, and I have a talk with him. And then I go to the gazebo, and I sing a song that Johnny Bullard and I wrote for Anne, called Swanee Reverie. We'll plug there. Well, it's not recorded, so, And I did that. And so I go there and I sing before anybody comes, no audience. And I talk to Frank. And the other part is I make sure that I sing those songs for Bobby Hicks, for Adam, for Anne, for Frank, every time. Even if nobody's listening, I'm sitting in my van. That's a ritual.
Did anybody ever give you a gift during the folk festival? What happened?
Well, I'm thinking that, songs. People give me songs, and that's my favorite gift of all. But I can't think of anything like tangible gift. So I automatically, at this age, I just, I go to, the gift of who they are, people might, like today, just share really personal stories with me, or fears, or, things like a friend is going, her little elderly dog is probably at the end stage, and says, just sharing these kinds of real feelings and emotions with me. To me, that's the gift I want now in my life. Because I'm giving stuff away, I'm at that stage, and so many of us are. I see some heads shaking. So, yeah, that's the gift. Give me a song. Frank gave me an assignment to write a song. That was a gift. Johnny Bullard wrote this poem, and he was supposed to read the poem at Anne's memorial the next day. And then, of course, White Springs had that flood back then, the day right before her memorial, and Johnny couldn't come. So Frank handed me the poem and said, make this a song and sing it tomorrow at Anne's service. So that was a gift, because I didn't know I could do that. I had never, ever put music to somebody else's words before, ever. And since then, I've done several. So what a gift that was. I'm doing one now. Yeah, for my 96-year-old aunt, you know. We're writing a song for her. So I'm so grateful for that, even though I was scared to death. Yeah.
You are the gift. Gotta eat, right? So what's your go-to feed during the festival? Do you have any traditional, I always eat this or anything?
Well, it used to be the Indian bread, but I don't see it anymore. It's there? Down there? Okay, somebody's shaking their head. Okay. Okay, the fried Indian bread? Okay. So there you go. I gotta go now. That's my go-to, that, and Ann and I would always get that sassafras tea.
Gee, when I think how deep and real you are and I look at these questions, they feel kind of plastic.
That's one of the sweetest things you've ever said to me. I love you.
I was remiss in not saying anything better to you sooner. Oh, is there anybody in the campground that you really look forward to their cooking?
No.
Me either.
Unless somebody's putting up some spare ribs tonight, there's nothing that I want in the campground. I used to be a vegetarian, now I'm a flexitarian. You know, I'm mostly healthy and good stuff as a yogi. You know, I try to keep it clean, but spare rib, I'm there.
So like, after you take off,
Yeah.
how do you want people to think about you as a folk festival family member? What's your legacy? Who was she?
I wish I would have thought about that before I came in here to answer this question. You know, I don't have any control over what people think about me or say, or, you know, so they're going to just, you know, they're going to make stuff up. Does that make any sense? Because that's kind of what we do. After, you know, somebody dies, we take from their lives what we glean, you know, and so that's what they're going to do. So some people, I don't know, they might remember that I danced barefoot after Thelma left at every performance, you know, I danced barefoot on the stage. They might remember that, you know, but I don't know that. I don't know. Maybe I'll come back and find out.
Ooh, that leads me to very off-topic questions.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just had a memory. Do we have time for a short story? Back in the day, when Cousin Thelma asked you to do something or put you on the schedule to do something, you didn't ask anything, no questions, you just did it. So one year, because I was born and raised in Miami Beach, somebody either told her or something that I was Jewish. So when I come to the festival, on the program, it says Rochelle Yeager at the time, Morris. At the heritage stage, I'm doing a workshop on the Jewish culture in Florida, or the Jewish religion and how it's... I know nothing. about that. So I show up because you had to show up. And my brother happened to be at that festival, the only time he's ever come, and he was bar mitzvahed. It's a complicated story about how we were raised. He was bar mitzvahed, so I show up and I'm praying nobody shows up, but it's packed. I mean, there's like 60 people there, and they have clipboards. They're like going to learn something about Judaism. And so I start with Mark. He's a stand-up comic. So I start, Mark, tell us about your bar mitzvah. So he goes into 5 minutes of just funny, out loud laughing stuff, and then I ask him questions. What gift do you give someone for their bar mitzvah? And he talks about money and blah, blah, blah. And what do you eat at a bar mitzvah? And the audience is starting to get this like glazed over look, like, what does this have to do with why we're here? So I said, we run out of jokes, and I said, okay, any questions? And they start asking serious questions about the Jewish religion, like about the 6 nights or the 7 nights and the candles burning and Passover. And I just kept saying, that's a great question. I don't know. But, I'll look into that, And so like by the 4th or 5th question, this lady stands up and says, you don't really know anything about the Jewish religion, do you? And I said, no, I don't. But I'll tell you this, be sure to get your grandma's recipe before she dies. So that's when I learned about the Jewish religion. And I picked my brother up and we walked off the stage.
There she is, looking at you.
It's not she didn't know. She believed something that somebody told her. She didn't check it with me, so it's all forgiven. We made the best of it. That's what we do.
Did you ever get, how do I say this? Did you ever feel you needed to forgive the festival for something that might have been wrong somehow to a person or an idea?
No. No, I think there's so much, we pay so much homage, and honor those that gave, brought to life, what it is today, brought that about. So, no, I think that, naming the gazebo after Frank and Anne is very important. I think that we have people that carry on the traditions and making sure that they get on the stage, like Tom said, to remember Don's songs and Gamble's, showing the documentary. So I think there's so much of that going on, that they're still here. Pay tribute to the people that helped build this place, right? Yeah.
That face was so beautiful.
It's a mirror.
Are we wrapped up? Would you like to share anything else? What you doing tonight?
I'm going to go to the main stage, and I'm going to have a cup of Mike's coffee. And then I'm going to make sure that I go back to the campground, save enough energy to sing the songs that I just told you about. Bobby, Ann, Adam, and Song for Gamble. That's it. Find me a jam.
Thank you. I love you.
Thank you.